I'd like to talk today about how we treat women who've experienced any sort of psychological discomfort at any point in their lives, such that they diverged from their usual train of thought and their usual modes of being, and in some way other people were made aware of this. Other people witnessed them in a frazzled state or speaking unclearly and being generally disturbed, seeming disturbed. And I'm directly responding to this crisis that's happening in the pop star we all know, who were born in the 90s or around in the 90s, Britney Spears. And I'd like to respond to that, and I have a few things I'd like to say about that, and I'm going to talk about that. So, what has happened, for anyone who hasn't heard, is that Britney Spears has recently released recordings that they took in court proceedings regarding what's going to happen in regards to her money, as due to her father's interference, her family's interference. They have decided to put it on a conservatorship state, so that for her own good is the idea here. For her own good, they're gonna take over her entire estate, her entire monetary possessions, which is some of her power, where some of her power is. And the idea is that due to mental health crises that she's experienced, they are taking away her money, and they're gonna have the right to dispense of it and do what they want with it, and she will have much less involvement in those decisions. That's what it means when conservatorships occur. And it's generally done when a person is deemed incapable of taking care of themselves, and as a result their money and stuff. I didn't know that this was really practiced in the US, honestly. I didn't know too much about it, and I didn't realize that someone who's still speaking clearly, who can voice their opinions, who can exist and is working. It's weird to me that this is still an option that's available for someone who works that hard. And if you listen to any of these recordings that she made, where she tells what happened and why this all went down, she says there was a lot of trouble with a new psychiatrist. I believe it was a new psychiatrist. It was definitely a new medication that she was switched onto. She was put into it without much of her own interest into it. She wasn't interested in taking this particular new medication, stuff like this, being, pigeonholed and put into a circumstance where you have to make these tough decisions and you have to make them alone. And she had to take these medicines she didn't want to take, and she was having all these anxieties due to a show she was about to do in Las Vegas. And this was enough mental distraction that she's considered incapable of taking care of herself. So it's weird to me. It's weird to me that there's this big dialogue about nervous breakdowns, especially in celebrities, female celebrities, and that person, that celebrity might have gotten back on their feet pretty quickly, bounced back, but still, every time you bring them up, you start discussing this one bad period of their life, which is a really toxic thing, considering how stressful it is. The showbiz, the Hollywood, the fans, the money, the social power. All of these things come with great pressures, a lot of responsibility. You're on camera at all times, you know, or it can be that way. So it's strange to me that popularly, people like her, you know, will be discussed so loose-handedly. You'll start talking about Britney Spears, and all you can say is that she shaved her head off at one point in time in her really stressful life as a fashionable kind of, you know, diva pop star. And that's all you can bring up about her every time you bring up, you know, Britney Spears. And she's been producing music since then. She's made some good hits since then, you know. She's still been working. So why is it the only thing that's worth noting whenever you bring up this big name celebrity who's been active for 20 plus years, over 2 decades, maybe closer to 3? Why is the only thing you can bring up this one bad time she went through? And it's so overwrought, you know. It's bringing back the dead. It's bringing back just old happenings that weren't that worthy of prolonged discussion to begin with. In most circumstances, if you want to have a prolonged discussion, you want something that you can expound on. You want something that's time and space relevant, something that's relevant to the matters of the world today, okay? Something that's got a place in time, you know, with our current needs, with our needs. It's overwrought. It's old news. It's bad luck. It's bad decision making that all you can do is recall this one painful experience in a very, you know, well-known and productive member of the society that we're all partaking in. So that's nasty. That's bad behavior. All of you ought to get checked out by psychiatrists, psychologists, social therapists, and whatnot. If all that you can do is dredge up the past of something that ought to be left sleeping. So I got a little passionate for a moment there. I want to take a sip of this coffee. So that's horrible, that all you can do is talk about this one bad thing. And that's the only notable thing you can say about a celebrity who's still working, has done a lot of work for the people, you know, and that's all you can say. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. So that's what I can think of that I'd like to say about Britney Spears being bashed by the media. I have a lot of thoughts about how we treat women who have mental breakdowns. You know, the whole area is overwrought, overused by social tropes. It's not appropriate, but it's still used. It's weak humor. It's not good humor. It's not timeless. It's not gonna last. It's not gonna age well. It's gonna look horrible if you look at it again in 2 years, 5 years, and in some cases even like 2 months. It's fast humor, one-use humor, single-use humor that you dispose of right away. An old trope that needs to be buried, okay? Unless you're gonna resuscitate it with some kind of new vigor, some kind of time-relevant vigor, because that's what's gonna matter in the future. And I'm saying this to any of you who do anything that could be called posting jokes and stories, commentaries, arguments, getting into arguments with random internet strangers. All of that could be worthy documentation of the people's ideas and responses to a changing environment. And it's not an environment that's changing every single millisecond. It doesn't change because you've posted another picture. Anything you post becomes, debris, space debris, it becomes space debris almost as soon as you stop promoting it in any kind of way. So that's rough. It's rough to acknowledge that, maybe, but it's necessary. It's necessary. It's biologically necessary to be aware that you're kind of just working too hard. You're working uphill when you want to be slowing it down. You want to be having a regular pace and not a regular attitude. An attitude problem, more so. So, what else can we say here? It's overdone. It's like burning the food and then still eating it, still trying to sell it. It's bad. And I'm gonna segue here, and I'm gonna retitle this video into talking about how we bash women in the media. And I just want to make a note that that the celebrities are much more accessible in this day and time, I believe. Perhaps before there was social media, and celebrities all had their page and anyone could access it, anyone could comment, and the celebrity directly will hear it, maybe can respond, maybe will respond. And I just wanted to make a quick note that it was interesting to me. I am a black girl, so I'm pretty aware of black female celebrities, and I might pay attention to black pop culture quite a bit. So that's why I'm bringing this up as an example. But there's a lot of celebrity examples out there, and I wanted to note that it was interesting. I noticed a Cardi B video bite about it was a live stream bite, and she's yelling at her stan culture, fanatical, cult-like fans. She's righteously noticing that that y'all are crazy. Y'all are not respectful people. She made a video basically to say that it's getting really annoying. It's really angering that there's this whole cultish stan culture like response to her, and it's on social media, and people will start just making long arguments and trying to rip her apart, criticisms that are not based on anything real and true that's happened, anything that she's really done, and making all these strange, weird stories. At this point, you'd honestly be better off posting to fanfiction.com. That's really how out of this world what you do is, as stans, which is weird to me. You're making an idol and a religious figure almost out of a person, a human being, and you do cause people pain or irritation and make the environment more poisonous than it needs to be. So that's just a side note. I wanted to say that it's interesting that, celebrities can film themselves and send it out to the world pretty quickly like that. And I don't know how possible that was before technology was so easily available and on our phones. And I don't know, I suppose they would write a letter to the press, and since they have a name, you know, maybe they get it published or something like that. So that's just an interesting side note. So now I want to talk about another woman who has been recently maligned by the media, and all of this episode is me talking about recent experiences and thoughts I've had about the media slandering women. I wanted to bring up what I saw people do when another famous pop star, you know, who wrote a really freaking good song. She posted a picture of herself and was torn apart for being so honest, and well, for having a picture of herself that showed her body, and she's a plus-size woman. So I'm talking about Lizzo, right? I don't know if Lizzo is not a diva or is a diva. That's not the question here. I want to talk about what was happening there. Why is it okay to rip apart a random person you don't know for having confidence, for liking their body just a little bit, for liking their body enough to take a picture and share it with the world? A really nice photograph of herself in a swimsuit, posing on the beach. A nice swimsuit, had golden, chain kind of decor on it. It was pretty. She posts a picture of herself and shows some flesh. She's at the beach. She's in a swimsuit. Why is it totally acceptable to rip her apart, say her body isn't fit for that, her body doesn't look good, her body shouldn't be in that, shouldn't be showing that skin? Like, did you look at the picture? Did you look at the picture? Because you can tell when a person doesn't feel themselves in a picture, right? That's the kind of picture that would deserve maybe, why are you frowning? Or something. I don't know. If you can't say anything nice, don't say it. It's bizarre to me. And what's bizarre-er is that all kinds of people are leaving these hateful comments in the comment section and in the inbox. They're all leaving comments, and some of these people are the kind of people you might work with, and they might call themselves liberal people, democratic people. They might say we're good people. We vote. We work hard and we vote. And these are people who all act as though you would be a friend to them in the real world, and somehow when the tables are really set before them, they don't show up. If you really are supporting, feminism, fourth wave or fifth wave, I don't know where we are now. If you're really not interested in any kind of endeavor that supports slut shaming, if you really want to protect all these people who have suffered at the hands of a masculinized gaze and masculine promoted and endorsed ruled world, then why would you be tearing apart these women you don't know at the expense of their bodies, their mishaps, the little unfortunate things that they've experienced in their lives? It's twisted and it's unreal. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that you would want to tear apart a woman, but then turn your back and say, oh, I'm a Democrat, I support women, I'm a woman, I must support women because I am a woman. It doesn't mean that you support women just because you're a woman. You really can mess it up. You really can be out of your lane. You can be out of pocket. You really can just be a horrible influence. And that's being a bad social role model. That's being bad for other kids out there who are looking at other women and they're saying, oh, this woman is more experienced than me because she is, older than me. So she must be right. So you are influencing not only yourself and maybe the people you see in the real world, you're influencing anybody who logs onto these sites and sees you behaving in such a animalistic, vile manner, and they are also gonna see that, and they're also going to think it's okay. So it's not just you who's being so crass. It's you're passing that on to a whole chain of people, because we're all chained together. You know what I mean? We are. We're all chained together. And if you lose awareness of that for even a moment, you're lost. You're lost. You're in the darkness. You're fumbling around, but you're not fumbling for a light. You're just letting yourself get out of control. You don't help yourself. You can't help anybody until you help yourself. Period. It doesn't work any other way. Okay? We're all waiting for the day that comes when the sky starts being purple, in the middle of the day. That's when that'll happen. When water stops falling back to earth and it starts, you get what I mean. So that's what I have to say about that. It's bizarre. It's bizarre because I have to deal with people because I live on this planet. So I have to face these kinds of people all the time, who on paper might support the democratic motion, the movements to support underrepresented peoples and, areas of peoples, groups of peoples, classes of peoples, instead of living in this outdated mode where they never update their minds, they never update to what's happening right now, real time. They don't do that little thing that you need to do to be compatible with the now, the world as it is right now, and not 2,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago even. I'd even argue that if you're 2,000 years ago, you might still be okay. You might still be within the time frame that's relevant. 10,000 years ago, you're still a caveman in a sense. You're just not with the times, and it happens to the best of us. It happens that some people can fall into a nervous breakdown, but if it's a regular thing, you're either you're either under 25 or you're just struggling really hard and you need help. You need to help yourself. You need to get out of it. You need to do what you need to do. That's all it is. And you can't expect any more from yourself. So that's what it is when you're talking about these working musicians, and all you can say when they post a nice picture of their body, you know, their physical form, enjoying a sunny beach day in a nice outfit, and all you can do is say, you're fat, or, you know, you don't look right.